Club of Rome comprises some 70 men of widely varying backgrounds, but their common concern is that the world problems cannot be solved by individual nations. I spoke with Professor Hugo Thiemann, Director of the Battelle Institute Geneva, Dr. Aurelio Pache, founder of the club, and Dr. Alexander King, Director of the World Bank and the United Nations OECD. Dr. King, now you're describing the world as a closed system where all these things are interrelated, and yet the government, the control of the system is by individual nation states. Now, how do you convince them to cooperate?
The sovereignty of these nations is no longer as absolute as it was. There's a gradual diminishing, whittling away of sovereignty, little bit by little bit.
Dr. Pache views the European common market as an elementary example of the kind of regional cooperative which is going to be necessary. What responsibilities does he see for Australia?
You are in a splendid position.
What should we do?
You have food, energy, space. You are distant from other centers, so you can, for a longer time, feel rather more independent than interdependent. But things of the world are going so fast that I think that an enlightened leadership in Australia should see down the road that Australia will have to lose some of its own self-decisions in order to acquire something else which may be purely political in very wide sense, or maybe also security.
The World Health Organization is seeking to have the 194 member nations of the World Health Assembly adopt amendments to the international health regulations, in addition to a new international agreement referred to as the Pandemic Treaty. Now, these changes would make the World Health Organization's proclamations binding and increase the organization's funding and power. The amendments will lead to a further loss of Australian sovereignty, the creation of a new global bureaucracy, the introduction of a global digital health certificate, and the expansion of the World Health Organization's emergency powers. Now, from my perspective, anything which expands the World Health Organization's power is bad. I've asked the Federal Department of Health here in Australia whether they intend to be involved, and they've told me that they will be involved in the process. The amendments are currently being negotiated without public input. And having just been through the last 2 years, we all know that handing bureaucrats more power is a bad idea. If passed, these amendments will lead to the erosion of civil liberties, privacy and human rights. But what's needed is awareness. Most people just simply don't know what's happening, so talk to your friends. And we also need people to write to their local Member of Parliament to ask them to oppose the treaty and to oppose the amendments to the international health regulations. We haven't got much time. We need you to act today.